Hello, fellow gamers. I'm Gloryhound, and this is the disgusted Dr. Gloryhogg.
I know, did I look disgusted? I was reading what Petter was saying about melted checkers, and that sounds gross.
I hope we caught your gross as we were entering in.
I was reading, I was like, ugh.
First thing anybody hears coming
plastic.
industry is, ugh, gross.
Yeah. That did not sound good.
Hello to everybody in chat today. Looks like we have Petter in chat, Omar in chat, Battlecry. How are all of you doing out there and your lovely faces? Hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to give us a thumbs up on this video, like and subscribe. Well, I guess thumbs up is a like, right? Mm-hmm. Ring the bell to get notified whenever we go live, okay?
Do all the things. Do the YouTube things.
Do all the things. Do all the YouTube things. Today, we did not find any Kickstarters or things that we wanted to talk about that were brand new.
Right.
So we thought we'd circle back.
Right. So it's been like Flamecraft came out, but it's been a few weeks now of very low activity on Kickstarter. Like there's definitely campaigns going, but no massive campaigns. None of those like summer blockbuster big campaigns that you think of like Frosthaven or anything like that. It's been like pretty slow and pretty mellow, which I mean is understandable. There's a lot of shipping stuff going on in China and a lot of other stuff going on. I'm sure a lot of Kickstarter creators have pushed their projects back.
Oh, definitely, because the shipping.
There's ones that we've looked at that we thought would have already launched by now that haven't.
No, not yet.
So, I mean, I definitely understand why, but it's been slower. And so we still wanted to talk about some of the really cool Kickstarters. And I happened to be on Gamefound the other day, and I was like, wow, you can still back some of these? Like, some of these games I thought there was no way you could still back them anymore, and they're still available. And these are all, like, really big campaigns that were, like, centerpieces of our show previously that I thought it would be kind of nice to go back and review it now, because we usually talk about it within the first week of it launching. All these campaigns have now finished, so you see the final product, you see all the stretch goals, you can see everything. So I thought it'd be really cool to go back and then see if we want to change our mind on any of them too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we backed quite a few of these.
Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate that. So yeah, that was the other thing is, and I don't know how many of you out there do this, but you'll like go back and forth on a Kickstarter and you'll wait a while, and then all of a sudden when the pledge manager does come up, you're like, oh, okay, this is like my last chance to actually get it. In this Kickstarter rush of everything, like how many of you go back and back a late pledge manager? I'm really curious about that because I've done it a few times.
But typically we usually do, yeah, we've done a few late. Like we did a few late for the Awaken Realms ones.
Yeah.
But then I feel like that's made it so that we also haven't gotten any of them. So we have like, I don't know, 5 games on ready to be delivered. We're ready for it.
That's right, Battlecry. You are the centerpiece of this show, okay? All of you are in chat. So what's the first one that we want to go ahead and talk about today, Doctor?
So this was one made by Mythic Games. This was Hell, the Last Saga. And I remember thinking that this was the one. I was super pumped for this.
This was the one.
I believe this one was live before we had gotten Tainted Grail.
Okay.
Right? And so I was like, okay, so here's another kind of grim dark. The gods are dead. This guy had this prophetic dream to go forward and find like this fertile land. And him and all of his best warriors like kind of just like disappear, and you're supposed to, all the villagers are supposed to join them like a year later.
Yeah.
So now you're like one of the villagers, right? For better or for worse, trying to figure out all the different mysteries of like what happened to the rest of your clan and how to get there, right? So there's a lot of interesting mystery there, and it's a very narrative game too. So it has, I mean, you're reading paragraphs of story whenever you unlock things. You unlock and upgrade your character with new cards kind of like at different times for different reasons. Like you don't know for sure, like you're like, oh, we're gonna level up after we complete this. It's not a dungeon crawler. It's very much a narrative kind of like exploration.
Right.
And it was a Viking theme, which is a theme that I really enjoy, and we didn't have a lot of them at this time, and we've enjoyed the vast majority of Mythic games. I mean, Super Fantasy Brawl is super high up there for us. What's the other big one I'm thinking about that Mythic did? Oh, Reichbusters was the other one. We played a lot of Reichbusters. We've enjoyed a lot of the Mythic games.
This comes up, though, is because we're going to talk about 5 big games, and some of these games were a month away from each other or going at the same time and stuff, and that's another thing. Is sometimes you feel like you have to choose, and then sometimes you can go back later on months where, all right, I haven't backed something in a few months, so maybe you can go ahead and back this now.
Right, and not everyone's trying to back every single week. Some people can only back stuff every couple of months, which is fair. I mean, that's what I should be doing.
It looks like Money did the same thing for Endless Winter, where they went back on that, and then Battlecry says, I backed Hell, right? So let's see here. Oh, hey, Kabuki, how are you doing? So for this one here, what do we want to...
like Petter was saying, it was 8 or 9 months before Petter like kind of hooked me up with a, hey, you can get Tainted Grail at this place. And even then, I got like the bare minimum you could get. I mean, I had stretch goals and stuff, but it was the base pledge.
This one looked fantastic too. It was so intriguing. We really liked the Viking theme on it. I know in our Kickstarter show, we were both really, really excited about backing this. And I'm going to tell all of you right now, we did not end up backing this one.
But for a different reason.
I was going to say, I think there was a lot of stuff going on at the time, and we were making hard choices, too.
We were discussing things, and we were trying to see if we could do, like, kind of like a partnership thing with, not partnership thing, but basically get it from Mythic directly without having to back it, right? There was some talk of that, where like it looked like it might have been possible, but obviously we didn't get that to go through, and it's been months, and I had thought in my mind that we had backed it. So like I was like, oh, we backed this one.
Here's the other thing, too. So sometimes game companies do send us games, but the majority of the time, all of our games are just games that we've actually backed and have come in. And for me, that's the safest way of doing it for me personally.
Because then you know you're going to get it.
Absolutely. I don't want to depend on somebody to try to send me a game and then show it off at a certain time. No, I'm truly interested in these games. I truly want these games at my doorstep.
Like we backed Merchant's Cove, we backed Jurassic Parks, and those were some of the games we did in our giveaway. So we had backed those, and then we ended up in situations where we actually ended up getting either additional copies or something like that.
Right.
So then we were like, oh, well, let's do a giveaway and give them back to our subscribers and everything else.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this is one that I had thought we had backed, honestly. So like you told me today, like, oh, we didn't back this shit. And I was like, what?
Petter says,
I thought we had.
Use that money that I'm giving you on Patreon to back this. Petter, you know what?
We can only do that once a year. This might be the one.
I'm going to tell you, though, yeah, today, Doctor and I talked about this game before the stream, and even though we didn't originally back this, I think we're going to end up backing this. And hello, Steph.
Yeah, in my mind, this one was backed.
It was already backed.
Yeah, so I've been like following along. I'm in the Hell Facebook group following along when people are talking about like, oh, when's this shipping? Or, oh, we've upgraded these models. So I've been following along casually with this campaign thinking that we had backed it.
What is this? I don't remember this.
So what's really nice about this one is they have, the base pledge gives you all of the game content. The all-in pledge gives you a chess set, a neoprene mat, art book, making of, textured dice,
those dice,
fake leather,
everyone.
dice trays, some extra things, right? So you could actually, with this one, you could actually go in all in and get like a bunch of extra stuff, or you could get just the regular stuff. And then, of course, all the unlocked stuff,
you
like the
soundtracks, extra survivor miniatures,
18 buildings, upgraded 3D tokens, deluxe components, extra familiars, minis with alternate sculpts, a whole extra box.
Yeah, my one all-time favorite thing about Kickstarter games is all the extra stuff you get in them. And so I love coming back to these when I'm about to receive the game and being like, all right, what are all the awesome things that I'm going to get in this game that, like, I have? Oh, my gosh, Vincent! Hello! Welcome back to the stream, Vincent. How are you doing? We hope you're doing really well. So, going back through all those things that we had previously there, like, oh, my gosh. Right, it's so exciting to see those.
Because typically we back within the first week, and we might...
Then I forget about it.
Well, right, because we're moving on to the next week's Kickstarters, right? So we are not the typical Kickstarter people that follow the campaign closely. We don't.
I can't.
We end up just kind of going, oh, it's being shipped now. And then we start looking around, rooting around in emails going like, okay, cool, we should be getting it soonish.
In fact, I actually depend on all of you out there in chat to let me know when this stuff is coming in and the extra stuff and maybe stuff that's been missed and everything, because I get so many of those Kickstarter links and stuff like that in my mail that like I really just don't have time to keep track of them coming in. So I appreciate all of you out there helping me out with that.
Like the stuff that I back for game trays is still like almost an overwhelming amount of Kickstarter emails sometimes, where you're just like update after update after update. So it is a lot.
I'm super excited about this game. I want it now.
Yeah, the biggest selling point for me for this one was that you are not really heroes. You are townsfolk. Yeah. And you're uncovering the mystery of like what happened to your people, right?
And
it's
I
kind of like the idea of like what happened to that English, that settlement in Roanoke. Like what happened? Like what happened to that whole town just disappeared. We don't know for sure like what happened. That's still like a mystery. So this is kind of a very similar idea where this person, like your king, has this very like prophetic dream, like, oh, I know where all this fertile land is. Follow me. I know exactly how to get there. And everyone's like, yeah. And then they all go, and then you're like, okay, it's been a while. And then now you go back, and you're like, where did everybody go? And you could be like, you could play as this boy.
So
right?
Petter says, I just let the doctor know that Primal's Pledge Manager is open now.
He did.
I know, right?
And I just told her,
Doctor
like,
told me, and I was like, oh, we got to get on that. Like, oh. So if anybody is interested in this game, hell, the Pledge Manager is open probably
on Gamefound.
for a select amount of time. Perfect. On Gamefound. That's
Right.
really important to note, too, if you're looking for it and stuff like that. Sometimes it's easier just to go to that backer kit, to that Gamefound and stuff like that to find it, because sometimes it is a pain to go around and find
I will say it was really
what they
nice
used.
to go through and look at Gamefound and just see all the stuff that was still as open pledges. I'm like, wow, you can still pledge on a lot of these.
I really like what Gamefound is
And
doing
these are
with
just
that.
the biggest, some of the biggest ones. I mean, there's a whole
Yeah.
bunch of other ones in there too. So
I really like that as well. So let us know in chat if you are backing Hell. I think we're going to end up backing it because we had already wanted it before, and it was just, I don't know. It just didn't work out
I think what
right.
we did is we like,
it didn't work out right.
I think we wrote like a prayer like on a paper lantern and sent it up, and we were like, please,
Offensive-
Mythic, send us this game. And we were just
then
hoping.
It did not happen.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe they didn't get it.
That's probably it. Lanterns,
probably.
messaged by lanterns usually are
You
pretty
know,
hard to
but
get
I will
through.
say that there was a lot of games that we had potentially incoming last year, but then when COVID hit, that really just messed up everything.
That are just there. That are just there.
Yeah, like it just didn't really happen.
Money joining chat is like, I'm trying to have some self-control. Money.
luck.
It's not happening on this show, okay?
I'm telling you, Petter, I thought we'd already backed it. I was surprised when she told me. She literally came and she goes, hey.
I know. I was surprised. I was super surprised.
She
And I
goes,
was
hey,
sad.
we didn't back Hell. I was like, what?
In fact, I'm super glad that we did this show because now I can go back and back it, because I wouldn't have checked otherwise, and I would have been seeing people get it, and I would have been like, where the heck is my copy?
I would have been asking questions.
Yeah, and then I would have been upset, and then been
No
there
good.
really disappointed in myself.
No good.
Don't give me that look, oh, we're giving you that
And what's
look.
interesting is actually a lot of these games are based off of video games, which is probably why they're some of the most, like some of the biggest campaigns from
Like
Kickstarter recently.
Monster Hunters here?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Monster
like
Hunter,
Monster
obviously.
Hunters. This was another huge campaign. And this one here actually was a contender. People were going back and forth between this and Primal. Primal came out first, and so some people held off on their money because
Yeah.
they were so excited by Monster Hunters, and some people were disappointed by Monster Hunters. Some people were super excited about it. Like, I have no connection to the video game, so
Right.
for me, Monster Hunters was like, oh, okay, this is interesting, but I don't believe we personally backed this one because we had already backed Primal. And this, like, can you tell us a little bit about the game a little bit on this one? Because it was completely different from Primal. I thought they were going to be more, like, they were going to be closer.
Right, this one had more moving around. I mean, honestly, the best way to sum it up, right? Because the best way for me to actually explain it would be when I was fresh into the campaign and we did our first video on it.
Mm-hmm.
From what I remember about this one is that it just seemed lighter than
Yes,
Primal did.
it
Where
did,
Primal was very
much.
much card combo-y and hand management, this one seemed lighter. And even though you had more spaces and there was potentially more moving around, it just didn't seem as epic, and it seemed, without having any connection to the video game itself, it just didn't do it for me. I think that was the biggest thing. It just seemed like it was lighter for some reason. And I felt like the monsters looked cooler and were more diverse actually in Primal.
Absolutely. I kind of thought the same thing. And so for us, we had already backed Primal. We already kind of liked what we were getting with Primal. And then to see this, since we didn't have any tie to the video game portion
There was no
of it,
reason to back both.
there was no reason, yeah, for us personally to back both.
Which, to be fair, I was going to say, I was not going to bring up Primal at all until Petter told me that it opened up today. And now I got to look at all the expansions and decide, because we backed it at the base
I
for
know,
Primal, and
I
I got to
know.
decide if I want the other monsters or not. So that's
So,
tough.
chat-wise, so Andrew says, same, I just backed He-Man in Europe, and the Pledge Manager is open for Mythic Battles and Primal today. Yes, that I feel like
That's
that's
tough,
just, they
right?
time it like that, and I'm like, oh.
And that's not to say that Master of the Universe is releasing on like September 13th
Yeah.
or something like that for Come
for
On,
Come On,
the
mhm.
US one. So it's not like there's other big campaigns that are going to release soon. There's another big campaign I was watching too that should release, I think, at the exact same time. And I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm going to do.
And for everybody who's interested in our first looks at these and kind of like our in-depth details on it, if you come back to the video after, I'm going to put cards with links to all of our Kickstarters and
Where we talked about 'em.
them specifically, so you guys can go back and look at those later. So Money says, yeah, that was Flamecraft for me.
Yeah. And yes, Monster Hunter is from Steamforged.
Yes, absolutely.
So they also did like Bard Song and stuff like
I
that.
do want to look though at their Kickstarter exclusive stuff, which we didn't.
So one of the big things that kind of turned me off from this one is
Okay.
that if I remember correctly, it was something along the lines of like you got like 6 miniatures, like 6 monsters in this base pledge.
Oh, I remember
and
making fun of this guy because this was more.
Right, and then for like $10 more, you were getting like 12 monsters in Primal. Like just the base pledge was so much more. Hello.
Absolutely.
This is the time?
Oh gosh, this is the time right now. It's right. Oh
Okay,
gosh.
Kitty.
Oh, get out of here, Kitty.
I put her down gently.
That was very nice of you.
I gently put her down on the floor.
Hard pass on Steamforged games with me with an IP. Petter, why is that? I want to know.
So that's a thing that's been going around.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like what Steamforged did like with some of the Resident Evil games and whatnot.
Got
now, the
it.
Resident Evil,
That's
Resident
right.
Evil 3 I've heard some good things about, but I haven't actually played that one. And
I forgot about
you
that.
played Resident Evil more, I think. I never played Resident Evil.
Like the video game?
Yeah,
I did.
I did not have
It was scary.
I didn't have a. It was PlayStation mostly, wasn't it?
PlayStation. It was
Yeah.
PlayStation. Everybody wants the kitty back, right? Listen, everyone, I don't
She's gone
play
now.
a lot of horror games because they're real scary.
She likes to play horror games by
Real
standing
scary.
behind me and
Yes.
then like freaking me
and then
out.
pointing and doing things and telling the doctor to do things. Because
Go,
now
open
that
that door, open that door.
Now that I have a partner, I don't have to directly play the horror games anymore and get really scared. I can have my partner do it, and then I get to sit back and feel not as assaulted by the game.
Nothing will ever beat Five Nights at Freddy and you just screaming every time I would like open the door. It's right there. I'm like, I know. Don't yell. I can see him.
How much worse did that make it for
It
you?
made it way worse for me.
So worse.
Because I'm not going to say I am a jumpy person. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm some stalwart person that doesn't get scared. I jump out of the way. I am that type of person that when they get scared, jumps out of the way because they're like, I'd rather be scared and jump out of the way and not be dead than be like, murder, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So I jumped.
So let's hear.
So you did not help that situation at all.
Vincent says horror games via proxy. That's the way I play them now. And let's see. Petter says Steamforged makes fine games, but you need to go all in to get
Yes.
everything. The base box is lacking. Horizon Zero Dawn was about 1/3 of a game unless you got everything. That's understandable.
That's how this one felt too. It felt like you got like just enough to barely consider it a base pledge, and then if you wanted the full experience of getting to fight like all these different monsters and everything, and all the different characters and everything, you had to get the all-in pledge.
I have to
it was very
say,
expensive for what it was
I
in
did
comparison.
like the warrior minis and how they were armored in this one better than Primal, though, I believe. Like,
Oh, really?
this one I really liked. They looked like they were outfitted to fight these monsters, where in
Well-
Primal, it was a little bit more mystical.
Well, switch back. Switch to Primal then.
Well-
Which we were not going to talk about, but go ahead, pull it up.
Well, no,
Because
we
now I
can
want to
go
compare.
later. We can go later. You've seen them. Now you know.
Right. I'm saying we might as well go talk about Primal now, which is not one I had planned on talking about.
Well, Zarin Games says, got burned with Steamforged with Dark Souls board game. All of their preview videos showing off the game did not show the majority of the game. Oh, that's
fair.
really interesting. And Andrew says, we need to have a stream of the Doctor and Glory playing horror games. Maybe. That might be in the future.
So a lot of people are saying that they like the way the game looks, but as far as actual gameplay goes, it wasn't to their liking with Steamforged.
Okay.
So I've heard good things about Bard Sung though, but that's not an IP. That's one they just kind of developed on their own, so they didn't have to worry about any licensing, which means they could spend more money on the game and
This
not to spend as
dragon
much
just-
on the actual licensing.
Cracks me up so much, everyone. This dragon right
As he
here
cackles?
laughing. He does.
Well,
He's so funny. He's like,
It was the T-Rex was the one that like when you step on a Lego.
yeah, he's like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the monsters in this one were just so hilarious for some reason. But you wanted to go ahead and see Primal here. Okay, so
Right.
Primal
What's
Awakening.
this is kind of a bonus because I did not plan
This
on
is our
talking about
bonus
this one at
one.
all. But I just found out like 40 minutes before the stream that it was open for a late pledge.
We did
this
back
one
this.
is this one is not on Gamefound.
Okay. Oh, and just as a note, so this one right here is on Gamefound, and it is open to be late backed right now
Right, all
with
of
Monster
these are.
Hunters. Primal, though, you said this is not on Gamefound.
I don't think
it's on
so.
some other thing. This is by Reggie Games. This is what 1 to 4, I think it was.
You know, yeah, I don't think so. I think this one might be like a backer kit one or something.
This is 1 to 4 players. Yeah, on this one here. So I want to go down and look at this one.
I just remember the biggest thing I remember is I felt like the style of card play, or the style of game that we enjoyed, we would enjoy this card play more.
Well, absolutely.
And then it seemed like you got a better variety and more monsters overall for like the same price.
You don't have as big a map, but here you're doing more like, this is more, okay, so
This one has more like this triggers this, which
Right.
triggers that.
this is more, and you can see it by the art and everything in this game. It's more fantasy based. It's more like epic levels of things happening. And I think that we go more towards like the epic fantasy things rather than like a realistic approach.
Maybe.
Like, we like the epic fantasy battles better because they just seem more satisfying in general, you know?
Well, this was like a big bowl of mac and cheese, right? By the time I got done eating this, I was just full and I didn't want anything else. So I did not want to have a meal of Monster Hunter. I was done.
I see.
I was full. I'm like, I don't need any more.
See, look at the archer, the difference of the archer here, because we were talking about the weapons
Oh yeah,
here,
these
and
ones
we're
are
like,
ridiculous.
everything is fantasy ridiculous in this one,
Well,
whereas
like, this one is like basically what she's saying is that if I can't hit you with my arrow, I've got 2 spikes in the front of my bow and I'll stab you that way. Like, okay.
whereas the people in this one, they look like
A little bit more realistic.
like you would actually be outfitted like that person. So I thought that portion of the miniatures were interesting in this.
Like, this guy's hammer is like way too big for him to swing it. There's like, you'd have to be like Thor to
you need a
swing
big
that.
hammer to hit a big dragon, okay?
Yeah.
Petter says, I need to see Bard sung out in the wild a whole lot more before I'll be that confident in Steamforged. Totally understand that. Let's see here.
But yeah, I think we liked the over the top because these reminded more of like World of Warcraft characters with like ridiculously big weapons and everything, versus the other ones, which seems more like a Dungeons and Dragons, more realistic,
and
right?
I loved the miniatures here. They had, like I said, it's just that difference between like a realistic feel to something to a fantasy-based feel and like a fantasy-based monster that just, I'm so much more excited by fantasy-based looking monsters.
Like, I don't know what that guy
they're
is,
weird
but I
and
don't like it, and I want it dead.
Interesting and unique to look at, and they're out of the norm. Like, I just like looking at them more.
That's
and
fair.
In this one here, although you didn't have as much board space to maneuver around, like we were saying, it was about those bigger combos and stuff like that with what you were doing with your teammates.
It's like
and
how
everything.
your cards play, where you position yourself mattered a lot, where there was more running around and stuff in Monster Hunter. But don't get me wrong, they're probably both going to be really fun boss battlers.
Oh, yeah.
But depending on your budget, you might not want multiples. For us, we kind of have to pick the best of the best in our mind because we're not going to have a lot of time to play all of these. Which is part of the reason why we backed this at the base, because we weren't sure if we'd have enough time to beat through all these monsters and still want more. I kind of feel like I will, but I don't know for sure. And that happens. There's been games that we've gotten that we played like 3 or 4 or 5 times, and then we're like, cool, we're done with this one. We probably won't ever play it again.
So Jim says, sorry, the Monster Hunter movie was so bad I can't get past it to consider anything in this IP.
Fair.
Totally get it.
I tried to get her to watch it the other day, and she said no.
Petter says, Primal seems more like a boss battler puzzle, whereas Monster Hunter is a bit more tactical. Absolutely. And I usually lean towards more of those tactical, like, puzzles. But in this one, because you're battling this giant monster, I don't know, it was just so much more thematic for me, I feel like.
And I like the fact that it was from like a smaller company, so I felt like they were going to really put a lot of love and care into this because they're either going to be able to produce more games based off of this or
Succeed
just
or fail on this.
Crash and burn because they don't provide what people are expecting. So, and this one had a lot of really good praise from like Jeremy Howard from Man vs. Meeple and stuff, so I was impressed with the stuff that I saw. Enough so that I was like, yeah, I think this is the one, and I just don't feel personally like I needed both.
Your chat is the best of the best for sure. Yes, you guys are. All of you are so awesome. I love having you all in chat. You're so knowledgeable.
Jim says, well, you're better off just watching paint dry because at least something's getting painted. It's better than Monster Hunter. That's fair. Like I said, I have no attachment to Monster Hunter, but I'm always willing to watch a bad movie once.
Look at this tongue. What is he doing?
I don't know, but look, he's standing on a bunch of like runic rocks.
Does he have like a whip tongue?
It's not good.
See, like all of these models are just so stinking interesting to look
and
at.
remember all the different unique ones that were like, this one's poison ones, this was an air one. Remember that feathery dragon that was like a dragon with like feathers?
Well, I wanted to try to get down to some of those, but this page is like so long. Like I feel like I'm scrolling forever with all of this content that you're getting.
Oh, I wanted this one really bad. I really wanted this Gatling gun crossbow because it's so dumb and I love it. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing. I would give up all of my other stuff just to have a Gatling gun. I don't know why, but I feel like I need one at some point.
It was the feather dragons I was really excited about.
Yeah.
I was trying to talk you into getting the extra feather dragons and stuff like that because they were real pretty, everyone.
Because it's 2, because you get this guy too, which is the guy from Pan's Labyrinth. You know, like that's who this guy is. It looks like all of his eyes are on his like feathery frill.
Oh, I love the way you can sort out realistic dragons over fantasy ones.
Hey.
Your wildlife is epic in the States, yes.
The United States is very big, all right? So fantasy dragons versus realistic dragons. Like this looks like kind of like a Chinese dragon that you see represented more.
Also the campaign where they started unlocking these boxes of things, and I believe when we were into talking about the campaign, I don't think they had unlocked everything yet. So again, like I'm excited to look through this.
But I mean, look at these like even these
look at all the
snakes and
runes
stuff.
on them. Like,
Right.
oh, you guys can't see that. Look at all the runes on them. So freaking awesome. I just want to know who designed all these sculpts. Like, they did such an amazing job with all of these.
Yeah, I remember there being, like, they did very specific things, too. Like, the frost ones did something different than the poison ones, so on and so forth. So I remember it being pretty cool.
So here is who all is backing Primal, and I want to know what levels you all are getting, because they have so much content in this. I want to know how many of you are getting, like, all of the dragons.
I'm tempted.
All of the dragons.
I'm tempted to go to the gameplay all in.
Are you really?
I am, because I did want these other expansions, plus I wanted that other 5th player.
Well, here was the thing. I think, every box was like 50 or something like that, I think. I'll have to go down and look, but if you get 2, you're like...
You're better off getting all in.
Yeah, you're almost there anyway. So you're like, well, what the heck?
I know Petter was looking at some of the terrain, too, because there's some 3D terrain. Yeah,
Yeah, Petter says he backed the base level. Are you going to move your pledge up at all? Or are you going to get anything extra? Or are you just going to stay at the base level? Now that it's open and everything.
Yeah. And it's weird how psychology works, right? So, like, we already spent the first $150 or whatever. And now it's like, okay, like, it doesn't seem as bad to spend another $100 now.
Money brings up really good points. How many boxes is it? If I get any more, I have to get a larger house. We're right there with you, okay? Right at this point, something has to come off the shelves in order to put something back on the shelves. So we're making hard choices.
Yeah. Hello, Sil and Ren. Ren said he backed it at the base and he was going to get one expansion but went gameplay all in.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I feel like we haven't really backed anything in the last couple weeks. Besides like Flamecraft, so I feel like we can maybe splurge a little.
Ren, what made you go all in? Was it just because you saw all the boxes of dragons, or was it something specific that you really wanted, and then you came to sort of the same thing?
It sounds like exactly what you said. They were going to get one expansion, and they were like, well,
and you're like,
it's
this far away.
Yeah, for like $20 more, I might as well just get all of it.
That's tough. All right, because I need these feathered dragons. I need these ones right here. Super bad.
So Petter says he's probably going to stay at the base because of Marvel, United X-Men, Zombicide, Undead Alive.
That's fair.
So many boxes. That's very fair. Yeah, because see, they're approximately $47, and then like that one is another $29, and there was 4 of them, I believe. So it's like, if you get one, you're one other box away from just getting all of them.
Especially because we really wanted the Gatling gunner as well. So like at that point, we're adding everything up and going, okay, well, what's going to work best for us in
we're
this
already going
whole
to spend $80.
Yeah,
so why not spend an extra $30 and just get it all or something?
So if you're interested in this game, make sure to go over. This one's on Gamefound as well, right?
No, this is the backer kit one.
Oh yeah,
the
backer
only
kit.
Backer
Apologies,
kit one.
backer kit one, everyone. So make sure to go ahead and check that out over there. Moving on. ISS Vanguard, everyone.
Hey, stop digging.
He's got to get down there. He's got to make a bed, okay?
I've already used up my burrito. I had to use it to get my dog to stop digging through the carpet. Just lay down. It's carpet.
ISS Vanguard. This one here is by Awaken Realms. It is for 1 to 4 players. This is an extremely, extremely thematic game. This one, if you want to see the Doctor go off the rails and talk about craziness, this is the game to go look for that on our Kickstarter
Did I
shows.
get intense during that one? I don't even remember.
You get really intense on a lot of
I think
Awaken
I was
Realms
trying to
sort of
sell
ones.
you on this one.
I think so, too.
It's because I still feel the sting of the Tainted Grail, where I was like, nah, we don't need this. And then I was like, oh my God, this is so much. Where you were more interested in Etherfields than this one. But the thing about this one that I thought was the really cool idea is that we get this weird signal and we find like this like almost invisible sphere, which has like half of a solar system in it. And we start getting all these transmissions, and the transmissions are all jumbled up versions of things that we've sent out into space. And the very last line of it is, sorry we stole your future, it was the only way. And they're talking about the whole time before that there's a race. And now we have to figure out what is going on. Like some alien species just said, sorry we stole your future.
Oops.
Like I need to know what is happening. And then when all that's done, you've got where your characters can die, you can put them on a memorial, and you can have them injured, you can send them to medbay. There's that whole ship phase, which is that book that you get to go through and like do all these different things to kind of like maintain the ship and everything. So there's like not only the exploration part, but then there's also all the maintaining of a crew and everything. So I thought it was a very interesting overall. And we went in pretty heavy on this one.
So I really love what they did with the miniatures in this, making like, combining like this clear plastic here for shields and stuff like that. Like, man, Awaken Realms is always like leveling up their stuff in these. It's freaking amazing.
We went all in on the gameplay in this one, right?
Oh yeah, we went all in, I think, on this one here.
On the gameplay, but we didn't do like the sun drop or...
No, we got like, I think it's that mid-level or something like that, yeah. So, let's see. Oh, Kabuki says, I got my Jeff's Kiss t-shirts finally. We're going to have to get some of those as well. And Jacob says, after playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition and getting my girl into it as well, I late pledge for this. So you're late pledging for this one. Absolutely. This one will make a really fantastic one. It'll be really probably easy to get them into it because it's going to be very thematic. And thematic games just,
That's what we love. We do.
And they pull in new gamers a little bit better because they have like context that they can drag into this. Right? Exactly.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of really good abstract games, but...
We did not get this pledge.
You have to like basically pull my teeth to get me to play them because... I want to play this big, heroic, thematic, fantasy, space, whatever it is, style of game.
Look at all these boxes. Like, what? Those are so cool looking.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. Don't look at all of it.
Oh, gosh. Some of these are sun drop things, everyone. Oh, look at these dice. Look at those dice. Ooh.
Walk away. Walk away.
Hold on. Let me look up here. And see what's going on over here.
Yeah,
okay,
Vincent,
yeah.
ISS Vanguard, I'm really excited about. I think that one's going to be a really
painted
big,
models,
epic
too.
story.
Oh, what?
Yeah. But that's
what?
$6.90.
Oh, geez, everyone. All right, so... Omar says, exactly, totally Mass Effect vibes. That's why I grabbed an all-in gameplay. I know, right?
And Vincent's being tempted. Yeah, it's tough, Vincent. It's tough. I mean, I feel you. It's sometimes, if I looked back to see what all we pledged throughout the year, I'd probably kick myself. But when they come in, I'm always excited. One
thing you do have to admit to, as far as just Awaken Realms games in general, if you do have a large pledge for it, and you get it in, and you feel like you don't want the game, or you played the game and you don't like it, super, super easy to sell.
Yeah.
Super easy to sell.
There's always somebody that misses it that wants it.
Somebody's going to grab those up. Somebody, because they're expensive in the first part. So, like, if people are backing other things, they might miss it for some reason. And just the way that they deliver games and stuff. Like, sometimes some people will purchase games just to get it earlier and then, like, get rid of their other one, or maybe purchase something that, they've got the base one coming in, and then they're like, all right, actually, I've heard buzz, people are talking about it, I want the all-in package. So they're just easier to actually get back into the market if you need to, right?
Right, it's kind of like a lot of the Come On projects, too, where people just want them.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So make sure to check the add-ons as they added after Kickstarter, says Jacob. Thank you so much. I'm going to double check on that. I'm pretty sure I went through and already did this, but I'm going to go back and double check now. Let's see here.
Not now. Don't go through it now.
Not right this second. Not right this second.
We'll check it out after the stream. Jeez.
So if you're interested in this one was funded on Gamefound. Everything is on Gamefound for it.
Yeah, you can see the original
right
campaign, all the different stuff that they did for it. This was a big one. This was a $5 million campaign, basically.
And they just keep getting bigger as we go along.
And you know that, it's gone over $5 million just from the, in the Pledge Manager at this point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Next up, we have Darkest Dungeon, the board game. This is by Mythic Games. It's for 1 to 4 players. This one is based off of a video game as well with this here.
This is the roguelike video game where you go through.
There you go. Maybe it'll start.
Are you playing the thing? You gotta click it again. I don't know, like the videos are weird, like after the campaign's over or something like that. Yeah, this is the roguelike one where you go through all the, first off, I really love all the different character art and the way the game is drawn. It's very, dark, obviously, but it's all black and red, and your characters always look all beat up. And you lose characters along the way very easily. And you're going through these different rooms, you're doing these different battles. This convinced me to get the actual game for PlayStation. Like, I bought the game for PlayStation for this.
Oh, yeah. Did you like it?
I thought it was pretty good. I played it for a little bit. I didn't get super, super into it. Okay. I don't know. It didn't grab me as much as the deck building one, Slay the Spire.
Okay.
I liked the deck building of Slay the Spire a little bit more, but I also felt like I needed to figure out what I was doing in this one a lot more too. I don't feel like I was 100% understanding how I was supposed to get through this. I kept losing people, and I think there's better ways of playing it. And this game's been out for a long time now. The video game's been out for so long now that I could probably look up just basic strategy guides for new players and stuff, and I would need to do that in order to get back into this game because I was definitely missing stuff. Like, I know I was dying, and it's like, you could do this. And I was like, oh, I
Now-
could heal? I think I did the first couple times I tried to run through this. I didn't know you could, like, heal or something. It was ridiculous.
Well, now that you've played the video game, because I don't think you had played it last time, and
Right.
then looking at this here, has anything changed in your mind?
No, because I think this looks although this looks very interesting, it just didn't grab me in a way where I felt I needed to back in. It was a pretty expensive pledge.
It was. And this is one that we actually did not end up backing, although it did look really interesting. It had some
Right.
really, let's see here, the way like the dungeon unfolds or something like that. How was it? There was something
Right.
really interesting about this campaign that I
It was
liked.
interesting, and we definitely liked some aspects of it. This is more of a dungeon crawl, though.
Right.
Less of a story based, which we tend to
that
lean a
might
little bit
have-
more towards campaign story.
Yeah, I
like
think-
we'll dungeon crawl, but we like kind of there to be like a bunch of story and reason behind it.
I think that was maybe one of the things we were looking at as we were going. We're like, okay, the base portion of this game is just a dungeon crawl, and I say is a dungeon crawl game, and for us, that's not like we like exploring dungeons, but that's not exactly why we get into these bigger restorative style games. It's not
Right.
just to like, okay, kill, then off to the next place, kill, off to the next place.
Because
Like,
we
we like
have-
the story, we like
like,
the immersiveness.
We have like Arcadia Quest, like as a
Right.
dungeon crawler game. It's very light, but then we tend to make up stories as we kind of
yeah,
go along,
absolutely.
like why we're doing it. And the most exciting part was actually the little campaign snippets that you got at the beginning and the end of the actual campaign versus
Absolutely.
actually just going through the dungeon itself.
So let's see here. Petter says, Darkest Dungeon actually doesn't interest me and still doesn't. Vincent says, passed on this myself as well. Omar says, easy pass. Money says, nah, interesting that all of you kind of mimic the same sort of thing on this. I was curious about that because this campaign
Was huge.
was huge. It
Like
did better
5
than all
million?
the other ones that we've talked about since then, and maybe it was just primarily because it is
Such a
associated with the video game.
yeah, and it is a big video game.
Video game entities just do better. So Ren says, yep, skipped on this one too. I love the art and the minis, but the gameplay did not pull me in.
And that was our problem. I think it was the
Interesting.
gameplay
Okay.
that we weren't super interested in as
Yeah.
much. I just think that we felt like we were pretty good. Like we felt like we had enough games in this style that we didn't really see the reason to go all in on this one. And this is another one that felt like it was better with going all in.
It looks fantastic though. Like it has a tiny bit of that cartooniness, but still very dark and stuff like that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
looks like they did a fantastic job. But I do love all of the art, like you were saying, the most in this. That was my favorite.
Right.
I want to take a quick look at
And
the
this is
optional
definitely
buys.
one that I would play, but yeah, it wasn't one that we felt like we needed to back at the time. And a lot of this is going to be based off of how you feel about a game and knowing the style of games that you like and what you lean towards. For us, Hell seemed like a better back because although it might have even been lighter, just the fact that it had that story that you're unlocking was really important for us.
And it looks like here they have a bunch of like $50 boxes where you're just going to get
All
your
the add-ons.
tiles, bad guys, like a whole new like little scenario sort of thing that's added on to it. 2 new heroes,
Yeah, there's a
new
there's a
locations.
ton of characters in this game.
Wow.
Because it's almost like they're randomly generated. They're
Holy
not, but there's
cow.
a ton of characters in this game.
Is this like the 5th one I've passed or something? Holy
Additional
cowbells.
core box. You just get another core box casually.
Holy cowbells.
Yeah, I don't even know what the
This is
all-in
why we
was.
didn't get into this game right here. It's intense. There's a lot of stuff going on in here.
It was a lot. I just wanted that cute little plague doctor.
Whoever painted these minis did an amazing job. Kudos to them. Okay, so let's see here. Vincent played the video game. How does the video game play on that one? I'm in for the video game, though, says Kabuki. I think I want to kind of try the video
To
game,
be fair,
too.
the video game, I think I got it for like $9 on sale or something. So it was very inexpensive to get into the video game on PlayStation 4.
So if you're interested in this one, make sure to check it out on Gamefound as well. The next one we have is Witcher, the Old World.
This is the biggest campaign of the ones that we're talking about.
This is by Go On Board. It's for 1 to 5 players. Maybe this will start. And this here, gosh, this had like a lot of really good buzz. This was one that I actually went to several people who had the game and specifically asked them about it and what they thought, like in secret, in private, as reviewers sometimes do, and really got like the down low on the gameplay and if it was good or not. And from what I heard, it was fantastic and they really, really liked it. So I was like, oh,
This one reminds me a lot of something like, what's the game that you really like with the zombies? Dead of Winter. Because it feels like you have like some kind of crossroady or so like the encounters that you have inside where you have to like decide like what options you want to take. And it kind of had like a Destiny feel where you were like Destinies from Lucky Duck Games where you're going around basically and interacting with all these different little parts of the world, and each one of them is its own individual like little story or challenge or battle. Once again, very story based and a lot of lore. This is a video game I played. I have not completed Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, but I bought it whenever it was like, you know, Game of the Year edition, and I played it for a lot of hours. I spent a lot of time playing Gwent, and then I ended up having to set it down when I went back to school, and I haven't picked it up yet, but it is one that I've keep on my PlayStation as like, I'm getting back to this one.
With this one here, I thought it was really interesting in the fact that out of all the games that we just kind of went over, they've all been very conflict heavy, like battling against each other, whereas this one here is more like resolution heavy and almost worker placement-ish, because you're trying to get to certain areas to do certain things in the game, and you're not necessarily always there to do some crazy battle.
Right, because The Witcher's not, I mean, and if you've seen the Netflix show or anything, you go around, but you're really, it's kind of like the old stories of being like a knight, right? Like the idealized stories of what a knight was, where you would go around from town to town and help out people, and like, oh, you got to help out the widow, and then you help out this, you know, barkeeper, and then you go help out this person, and then, except the interesting thing about the whole idea of The Witcher is that although you help all these people, everybody hates you. They treat you like you're the scum of the earth. It'd be like, they treat you like a mutant. It'd be like being an X-Men, right? Where you might be Wolverine and you might be helping all these people, but they still look at you like you're some kind of abomination that they wish didn't exist, even though you're saving them from monsters.
Yep.
And that was the interesting thing, because Witchers are very vital to this world, but they're still hated on such a level. And what's kind of interesting about this is all before the Wild Hunt, too. This is all like a prequel stuff. So, like, although you might touch on some things you're familiar with, it's just not recapping what was going on in their best-selling game, Witcher 3. Right,
absolutely. And Petter says, less worker placement, more pick up and deliver, I'd say. And I think the hand management looks amazing. I agree, Petter. And I would say that's probably more accurate, more of like a pick up and deliver sort of thing in it.
Dale says, happy Friday. How much money have you sent? Today, so far, 0.
Well,
previously, we have backed Witcher, we backed ISS Vanguard, and we backed, not Hell, what was the other one that we backed? Primal. We backed Primal.
Yeah, but we will be backing Hell, so we did kind of spend money. We are spending money.
We got to look at Primal and ISS Vanguard again.
Yeah,
which is sad. I don't want to.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we backed Primal.
Oh, too much.
It's Primal the Awakening money.
Yes, Primal the Awakening. Oh, gosh. Okay. So, in this one here, again, we went through it. We reviewed it super early. We went through all the stuff in it and everything, and I didn't get a chance to actually look through and look at all the stuff for it, because I think they unlocked, like, all new boxes of stuff. I felt like this kept on just blowing up like crazy, right?
Well, it was a huge campaign. I mean, this was a really, really big one. So they just kept unlocking more and more and more things. I mean, think about like Frosthaven just unleashed a whole bunch of stuff too. I don't even know like what pledge level we did on this one. Did we do just the basic pledge on this one?
I want to say we probably did the basic pledge because...
Or did we do the pledge plus mages? Because I know you wanted to play some of the female characters. Because that was one of the big things, is that there was only like one...
Right.
I think there was only one female character that was playable in the base game, and that was unlocked as a stretch goal. So for the longest time, there was none.
Personally, we wanted the mages expansion, but at the time I had backed it, we backed base level because they hadn't actually revealed that yet.
Oh, okay.
Like, there was stuff that wasn't even revealed in this game. So, like, coming back now and hearing little things here and there about it, I'm really excited to see this. Like, this mage thing here, these mages look amazing.
So you're a big fan of mages.
Still, did you guys back Nemesis Lockdown? We absolutely did.
Yeah,
we absolutely did. We're waiting for it to come in. We will be playing it on this channel. In fact, all of these games that you're seeing that we are saying, that we're backing and everything, we will be playing on this channel when we get them. We try to do it if we can within a week of us getting it.
The most recent Kickstarter we got was probably Ankh, and we played that multiple times. We played it 2-player, 3-player, and then we talked about the merge mechanic.
And we played it 4-player. Yeah, we talked about on the channel. On the channel, yeah. So when we get these games in, we're backing them because we like them, and then also we get to share them with all of you and play them on the channel and everything. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and come back and hang out with us then as well, you know?
Our big thing is we're not here to tell you how to spend your money. We're telling you how we're spending our money. And we want to introduce as many of these games to you as we can. Way more than my CPA wants us to.
Let's see here. Omar says, I wish I could have backed Primal. My wallet slapped me for thinking about it. I completely understand, Omar. Like,
yeah. It might be a situation where we have to do hell, but then like we won't upgrade Primal because yeah, unless something else happens, like I don't know.
We're excited to do a playthrough of it still, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to play all of these. These are all, most of these games are like our top anticipated games too that we're just can't wait to get.
We're waiting. We're just like, give us the games so we can play them.
Yeah, and then with Awaken Realms, we have Etherfields and the Great Wall.
The Great Wall. We have Nemesis Lockdown, ISS Vanguard that are hopefully going to get to us at some point.
Right.
So we're just waiting on them.
I know they're talking about doing they're doing Ragnarok, right?
Oh,
yeah, Lords of Ragnarok.
That's the other one that we're looking at as well.
That one has not been released yet, though.
We're already looking at it, though.
But that one's coming out soon.
I know.
I think that comes out right around He-Man, so we're gonna might have to make some choices there too.
Oh no, everyone! That's not what I want to hear.
Is anybody interested in giving me a small loan that I most definitely will pay back? I will not. I will not pay you back.
So, Doctor, after looking at the end portion of this campaign here, when all of this stuff is available, what are you thinking on this? Because we did pledge for this. Are you thinking, all right, we need X, Y, Z in this game? Like, what are you thinking?
Okay, so here's how I'm going to base this one. For this one, I feel like we could probably do base, and then if we really enjoy it, we can pick up more.
Okay.
For Primal, I'm more interested in getting more because since the whole gameplay is based off of the monsters you're battling, the more monsters, the longer you're going to be able to play the game, right?
Okay.
Just period. But, you know, if I have to make the choice of either upgrading Primal or Hell, I mean, Hell's a whole nother game, so obviously I'm going to get a lot more out of that. That was like 13 stories, you know, 13 boxes. So, you know, it's one of those things we'll have to kind of juggle it around and see what we want to do based off of what we've already pledged. But I think I'm okay with Witcher. I think I'm still okay on this one. Yeah, I did this quest, I think.
What is he doing?
He's up on the roof, and I don't remember what you have to do to get him to come down. I feel like I remember doing something along this line. There was some weird stuff. Like, I remember banishing, like, some spirit and getting, like, a sword because of it, and all kinds of just weird stuff.
Just like back to the Witcher, says Petter, right? Sorry,
Petter.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, we were excited about Witcher. I think I'm okay at Witcher at base level for now. But we're also trying to be a little bit better about spreading it out so we can introduce people to more games than instead of going all in on just one.
Omar is saying Dale's the bad influence. There's a lot of bad influence people in chat, okay? We all have a problem, okay? We all have a problem.
What's the story? What's the secret to storing all these big games? Honestly, we have 2 5x5 calyxes and a 2x4 calyx, and we have games on our table that are not supposed to be there, and we have games in all of those, and we also stack them on top towards our roof. So things like Super Fantasy Brawl, Gloomhaven, a lot of our really big games are all stacked on top of the calyx. So I don't know if you knew this, but you can put games on top of your calyx also.
You absolutely can. You absolutely can. Just make sure you don't put, like, make sure the base of the calyx is very heavy before you start putting stuff on top, and make sure it's secured to the wall, everyone, before you do that, okay?
And I mean, our house is small, but we do pack in a lot of these games. The problem is that our favorite games are these games like Tainted Grail and everything, these big campaign games, and that's a problem.
As a note, since we are so involved in board games in the board game community, our living room is not our living room. Our living room is our game room / room with our table for eating in it. And so it's the biggest room in the house, and that is the room with all of our games, because that is like, that's where we put everything.
Still not big enough. And we also try to be very reasonable with our purchases too. So like when we get something in, if it's just better than something else that we already have, we move it on to somebody else that's going to enjoy it.
That's going to love it more than us. Like, I think we just ended up getting rid of Massive Darkness, the original Massive Darkness.
Right.
Because
we had held on to it for a really long time.
Right.
And it wasn't something we were playing a bunch.
Right.
And so we thought, you know what, we'll get rid of this one, or I should say we sold it to somebody in order to get in another game instead, that we would play more.
We were super happy about being able to give somebody all of the stuff in
that
because
guy was
it was
so
huge.
excited. He was looking to get it for Father's Day, and they were so happy because they're like, this is $50 cheaper than the one we were looking at on eBay.
That's awesome.
And they're like, and this is his Father's Day gift, and they're like, and then they get it a month early. So they were really excited. I mean, we sell all of our games at a discount, but we usually do it locally too, so we don't have to ship. So.
Absolutely. So, okay. We're going to have to figure out our pledges on this one here.
If I had a bigger house, I would definitely have another 5x5 Calyx, for sure.
Vincent says, well, if you're passing games on, hint, hint, Vincent, you missed our giveaway. We gave away some of our games.
And Vincent, you are like real far away, bro. You're like in another country. That makes it harder. That definitely makes it harder.
That does make it a little bit harder. It does, absolutely.
I mean, you want me to swim over there with it on my back? I'm like...
So if you're interested in late backing this game is available on Gamefound. Go check it out, everyone. And as a bonus game, this is our bonus game because we had like 2 bonuses.
Well, so we weren't supposed to talk about Primal. That was like a last second
that was a last minute submission.
This one was supposed to be in there. This is Mantis Falls.
Yes.
This is the cheapest game you can get from all of this.
By Distant Rabbit Games.
And it is by far the most unique game out of all of these.
2 to 3 players. We played this on our channel, and it
was great.
The best, it's...
Like social deduction game.
Yes, it's a social,
a social deduction game for 2 to 3 players. Yes. Think about that.
Social deduction game for 2 to 3 players, and it does it so fantastically well, and it's so exciting to play, and you don't know if those people are working with you or not, and they just did such a fun job with such a small, compact game here. Like, I had so much fun with this game, and I'm surprised it's still up for a late back on this here.
This is definitely one of those games that gives you those stand-up moments that you remember. I remember we went through it. It was like 45 minutes, and I believe you won at the very last second, where I was like, oh man, all I needed to do was do like one more point of damage to you to find out you were the thing. The whole idea of this is you see something you were not supposed to see in this town that's ran by the mob, essentially. And you and another person are trying to get out of this town, or you and potentially 2 other people are trying to get out of town. The problem is you don't know if that person that's getting out of town with you is somebody else that saw something that's also just trying to get out, or if it's secretly somebody that the mob has sent to take you out.
Yes.
And so you don't know how to trust them, and as you go along, different things happen to you. You've got cards you got to play. You can lie about what cards you have. You can like misplay your cards on purpose. You're trying to find other people that can help you, like, you know, Mr. Nash as an example, as an ally. You're trying to gather different cards. It is very much like what you would think of as a social deduction game, but just it being 2 or 3 players made it extra tight, because you know there's a good chance that other person could be here to kill you. And so they're just following you. They're basically just following you on this path down the road as things get harder and harder until there's an opportune time to take you out. Because it's not easy to kill somebody.
Right.
You want to wait till they're already getting weakened, and then you take them out. So it was very cool.
And this game, if you all did not see our playthrough of this game on stream, it's definitely worth watching. There's so much anticipation built into it, because in the beginning portion of this here, you have 3 cards that you have, and one of you can be the bad guy out of those 3 cards. And I mix them up and I show the camera card, and then all of you at home get to deduce who is the good guy, who's the bad guy, what's happening.
Yeah, what's going on
in the game.
I think we showed off just actually the card that we didn't have.
Right, that's all we did, was we showed off the card that we didn't have.
So you don't know who was who.
You all had to figure out of us who was the bad guy and who was the good guy in that. And
it was interesting.
It was exciting. And that was knowledge we didn't know. We didn't know what the 3rd card was. So the whole time we were trying to figure out, okay, are we both working together? Is one of you the bad guy? Like, it was such an exciting playthrough. You should totally check it out if you haven't seen it.
And this is one that we backed, and we can't wait to get. And
cannot wait.
Honestly, I put it on this list because it is a smaller publisher. It was like their first game, I believe, and it was just so much fun. I have never played a social deduction game at 2. They're almost always 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're usually worse the less people you have.
Yes.
This was amazing at 2.
So good.
It had good production quality. Even on just the prototype, we really, really liked this game.
I was really happy with it.
I
can't wait to get this one back to my table.
And if you're interested, definitely check out our playthrough on it, and it was a blast.
So Petter says, wasn't Gloryhound the bad guy in this one? She always is.
Like 90% of the time.
I can't tell you that,
She's always
Petter.
the bad one.
You gotta go look. You gotta go find out, okay? Vincent says, I saw the playthrough. It was really interested, but lucky for me, I spent some time in the hospital. Phew, dodged that bullet.
You didn't dodge it, Vincent. You can late back this today. I saw this on the list, so I added it on there.
It was so much fun to play.
To give some love to a smaller publisher.
I think we had Dale asking, so since you got rid of Massive Darkness, did you back Massive Darkness
We did
too?
not.
That was another thing, though, as well, when we were going through, should we let go of Massive Darkness or not, was if there is Massive Darkness 2 out there, is that something that we're going to want to play in the future, and then would we never play the original anyway? So there were a lot of things that went into choosing to let that game go, and that was actually one of the things, because there's always a chance. There's always a chance, Dale, that we play that game at somebody's house and we go, why didn't we back this? So then we end up getting it later, you know? But as of right now, we did not back Massive Darkness 2. We did not. So, everyone.
Like, just so you guys know, we still have 400 games.
Oh, yeah.
We just don't have 700 anymore.
It's a lot of games. It's a lot of games.
It's a lot. It's still a lot. We have plenty to play.
If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified whenever we go live. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up to show that we're doing a good job.
And if you ended up late back anything based off of this video, let us know. I would like to see that in the comments, what you got interested in. Because,
We did.
Yeah.
We're going to. Like, it happens, everyone.
I always like to see what everybody else is interested in, too, and what they decided to do. Because a lot of these games, it was really easy to miss these. Last year was very crazy. It was very easy to miss some of these games with everything going on.
Absolutely.
And, you know, hopefully everyone's in a better place now than they were a couple months ago. And hopefully there is a game here that interests you that you decide you're going to lay back and you're going to be really excited to get like we are.
So Petter says, will you back my legacy checkers? No, your legacy checkers are gross, Petter. I'm not melting down my checkers. I'm putting them on other checkers. Disgusting.
Do we have a room for weekend guests? No, this is our spare room. And see how small it is? Nobody's staying over here.
Very, very small.
Nobody.
But if you get a hotel in the area of Phoenix, we will absolutely meet you.
We'll meet you at a gaming cafe
At a gaming cafe. Yeah, and we'll play games with you, okay? We'll bring all the games and we'll play lots of fun stuff.
At this point, I've already tried to convince her to let me like move the kid outside into like some type of like air-conditioned shed or something, but
Money
so
says,
far unsuccessful.
I'm adding more to the ISS Vanguard pledge. That does not surprise me. It's a fantastic one. Let's see here. Syl says, thank you for the stream. Well, thank you for being here, Syl. And Studio Lanniston says, I backed a couple smaller games this year, but also X-Men United and
Black Rose Wars.
Black Rose Wars.
Somebody just showed me a thing for game trays that they actually got the Small World game trays and they used that for the Black Rose Wars, which I thought was interesting because it was just, it was like unsponsored. They were just like, yeah, I'm using these for Black Rose Wars and they're really good. And I was like, oh, all right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in chat, everyone. I'm so happy to have all of you here. You make this show so amazing, and we will see all of you back next week for a playthrough and hopefully a Kickstarter show. Other than that, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.